Hi, and welcome to another terribly fun films. I'm your host to all the crazy awfulness, Bobby, and today we are looking at a movie that combines two of my favorite things: adventure and B-movie creature feature. That movie is Beyond Sherwood Forest, which is the Robin Hood story with dragons in alternate dimensions. It's as awesome as it sounds. So, join in with me as we see why this is so terribly fun. Coming out in 2009, Beyond Sherwood Forest was a Stars Media production along with another Canadian company, and here in the States, it aired on the Sci-Fi channel. The plot basically inserts B-movie creatures into your traditional Robin Hood story, minus an origin. In 1174, three people are chasing down a dragon, and when they manage to hit it with an arrow and get it out of the sky. When going up to it, all they discover is a naked, shivering girl who's in pain and fearing for her life. They pull out the arrow that hit her, and she instantly heals. Seeing this, one of the three people, the Sheriff of Nottingham from most of our movie, Malcolm, played by Julian Sands, decides that they should keep her alive and use her for their own gain and get ultimate power. The other two don't think that's a hot idea. Meanwhile, in the forest, Marion and Robin, both roughly 11 or 12, are hanging out. He's shooting arrows, he's showing her how to do some of that, and they hear the scuffle going on. And that means Robin is witness to Malcolm killing his dad. Yes. One of the three guards chasing the dragon was Robin's dad. Then we cut to about 10 to 12 years later, and we have a grown Robin of Locksley, who is now completely Robin Hood. This is not an origin story at all. We cut from that prologue I just described to him already being established as robbing from the rich, giving to the poor, his merry men, Little John, all that already a thing. And thank goodness. By this point, in pop culture media and pop culture society, I'm fairly certain everyone can name the basic points of Robin Hood. My youngest niece could probably do it. If I just asked her to tell me about Robin Hood, I'm betting she would say he robs from the rich, gives to the poor, he has a band of merry men, and he loves Maid Mary. That's all you need to know. I don't need a 2-hour bore fest where Robin Hood only fires an arrow in the very last frame of your movie, excluding the credits. Fucking Ridley Scott. I want Robin Hood to be in action. I want him to be doing what Robin Hood does. This movie has no pretenses about that and just hits the ground running. And it never really stops. It's a shockingly quick film at about 95 minutes or so. It moves quicker than that. Nothing feels rushed though. But let's go back to the plot. We'll get to the other stuff in a moment. Robin Hood and his merry men are attacking tax collectors and that sort of people who bear the name of Prince John. Back to the poor. Meanwhile, in order to form an alliance between two countries, Maid Marian, now played by Erica Durant, and sorry, I should have mentioned Robin Hood is now played by Robin Dunn. Maid Marian has been promised to Little John, and she's not happy with this whatsoever, so she runs away into Sherwood and meets up with Robin Hood. As I stated, they were childhood friends. She instantly recognizes him. He does not recognize her, and that becomes the thing later on. Meanwhile, because the prince is having a hard time getting his taxes, Prince John, is breathing down Malcolm, the Sheriff of Nottingham's neck, So Malcolm decides to bust out his dragon. Yes, he has kept the lady who can turn into a dragon prisoner for all these years. She's not happy about that. But she can't do anything, and I don't want to tell you why, because that's a big spoiler, and the fact that she turns into a dragon isn't. It's literally one of the first things we see in the movie. But why she's still there, spoiler, I won't get into it, but it makes sense and works in context. And I think once you see it, you'll appreciate it, because it feels like the screenwriter, Chase Parker, put thought and effort into the sort of thing he would like to see in a crazy tale like this, and then went for broke, and it pays off big time. And for your plot, that's about it. It is Robin Hood and his merry men fighting Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham. Only this time there are B-movie creatures. I say creatures because it's not just the dragon. The dragon is most prominent, but there's an alternate like spirit world that has magic, which is the dragon's origin story. Again, I don't want to spoil too much. And in that, they have to fight bats. CGI bats. And they don't look that good, but we'll get to that. And they fight some wolf-like creatures. I'm a little uncertain if they're meant to be actual wolves or not. But yeah, so you have a lot of different creatures going on all at once. The dragon, of course, is your main one. It's the focus, as it should be. With all that being said, in terms of the plotting and storytelling, I have nothing wrong with the script. In terms of the dialogue, I also have nothing wrong with the script. The characters, our main characters at least, sound authentic enough. Some of the side characters maybe sound a little too old-fashioned-y, old-timey, like they're written as if somebody's idea of what they talked like back then, as opposed to how they something natural. But that's really a minor complaint that doesn't exactly bother me all that much. The verbal sparring between Robin Dunn and Erica Durant, as Robin Hood and Marion respectively, is delightful. And a dramatic turn later in the film where they both break down in tears. It's handled really well. It's very precise dialogue. It's very well laid out. It emotionally grabs you the way it intends, and that's exciting. The directing, Peter Deluce, I don't know. Sorry, directed it, and he does a really good job. Not the best. He's not quite as stylish as somebody like Lee Scott or Mark Atkins or some of my favorite B-movie directors like those. But what he does do is not only keep things lively, even when things get heavy, the movie just has this energy. It's very kinetic. And Peter Deluce has a ton of TV credits, from acting and directing episodes of SG-1 and the most recent R.L. Stine thing, Monsterville, and a ton of other sci-fi work. Painkiller Jane, that sort of thing. So I kind of understand why he doesn't have much of a style. That doesn't mean it's not a letdown, but the things he gets right, he gets really right. For example, this is some of the best integration of CGI creatures and human elements I've seen in a movie like this. The dragon looks fantastic. And I'll get to that when I discuss the visual effects. but I bring it up for a reason, because the way it interacts with the people, the way it interacts with the environments, where it lands, and that sort of thing, is super impressive, and really shows how much effort and love and care was put into this production, despite being low budget. I don't have the exact budget numbers in front of me, obviously, but this was made for Sci-Fi Channel. It's low budget, you know. So he gets that right. He gets that attention to detail to make everything feel realistic and make everything feel like it all belongs in the same movie properly. His world building is really exciting and interesting, and I kind of wish for a sequel because of that. I would love to see this version of Robin Hood and Maid Marian and Little John team up and fight. I don't know, like a werewolf, or that might be a little too similar because this lady changes into a thing. I'd love to see them team up to fight something like a griffin or a cyclops, or if they got real crazy with it, like throw in Medusa. That would be cool. Really interesting to see. Or they could go real crazy and do the Calgary Hound, which is a bobcat, eagle, goat, snake. Not making that up. Bobcat, eagle, goat, snake. Point being, even though in terms of the actual camera shots and the camera movements, it's very journeyman. Never bad, never incompetent, simple point shoot, maybe a flourish here or a flourish there just to spice things up a bit. Peter DeLuise does really understand the world, and he understands how to make that world feel natural and realistic and exciting. It's really cool, and I, if nothing else, I recommend the movie just to see this ridiculous world of utter insanity and pure fun that he's made. This brings us up straight to the cinematography. Cinematography by Adam Solwinski is good. The colors really stand out and are fairly vibrant, and there's a great depth of field to everything, even if we're not moving the camera as often as I feel they should to keep momentum going and that sort of thing. The cinematography for this kind of a movie with these kind of effects, once again, really stands out. For contrast, if you see Attack of the Griffin, aka Griffin, look at the two movies. They're fairly similar in terms of setting and the sorts of action shots that we have. One looks way better than the other. Much more expensive, much more engaging, and that's this movie. Attack of the Griffin's a lot of fun, but Attack of the Griffin's a terribly made film. This one is a lot of fun because of all the care and all the effort everybody put into it. And that shows. So, even though the camera is static like this, we get this really long depth of field so we can see the action way out there, and as the train's slowly coming forward, it gets more intense and it builds up that way. And I really appreciate how precise they're being with that sort of thing. They are doing the best they can with what they got, and that shows. The editing from Nicole Ratcliffe, who Sci-Fi Channel buffs will know as the editor of Lost Treasure of the Grand Canyon, Hard Ride to Hell, also with Captain Isabel, Merlin and the Book of Beasts, Chupacabra versus the Alamo, tons of stuff for them, is really good. Again, very precise, quick edits, so the movie just keeps moving right along. And I I have no issues with them. There are some clever moments with dialogue editing and crisscrossing between what two different characters are saying to make everything sort of sync up in that way, which is very, very exciting. And she does an excellent job. Alyssa Swanson did the costumes, and they are excellent. Slightly above good Ren Fair costumes, slightly below something with the budget of, say, Clash of the Titans, the original, not the god-awful remake or its stupider sequel. Because again, budgetary restraints. But within that consideration, they use a lot of different colors for the costume. So there's a lot of purple and blue and green and brown and white. And using all those different colors not only gives your film an added pop, but it also shows off various other parts. So against the green forest and such, the way the costumes stand out against them, and the way that's on camera and the way they move, really interesting, really impressive. There's this purple cloak with a gold emblem that Maid Marian steals 25 minutes into the movie, and it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I would gladly have it myself if I were the kind of person to wear a cloak. But I'm not. She should be super impressed though. It is outstanding. Before we get too far into it, let's discuss the CGI, because I said I would get to that. This has some of the best CGI creatures I've ever seen for a movie like this. The dragon is super detailed. The transformation, of which we only see one for her, of Catherine Isabel's character becoming... By the way, the dragon's played by Catherine Isabel. And she and Ramadan have done like at least half a dozen movies together. It's ridiculous. That transformation is really good. It reminds me a lot, I hope on purpose, of American Werewolf in London. Now, it's not as good as that, because no movie will ever top that transformation sequence, no matter what you're transforming them into. You cannot top it. This, though, has similar things going on with the way the hands go out and certain shots, so I think they intentionally were paying homage to that. But it looks really good. The detail and the color changing from human flesh into a very gray, scaly thing with some... I don't know if they're veins exactly, but there is some blue thrown in there. Could be veins, could be just, flourishes to make it look different. And then the way the creature is on buildings, when it grabs people, that sort of thing, looks super credible. Even still, this movie is 7 years old at this point. A lot of TV movies can age poorly in that regard, even if it looked good then. That's not the case here. It still looks damn great. I don't know how they did that with this budget. I don't know. I can only imagine that the people they hired for the special effects were so passionate and so in love with what they were doing that they just worked overtime for free in order to do this. The dragon looks great. The portal to this other dimension looks really cool. Generic looking portal, but it looks cool. It has this nice blue haze around it. The bats you heard me mention earlier don't look that good. They look like what you would expect everything else to look like. They look like bad, cheap, made-for-TV CGI creatures. However, the wolves they also fight also look damn good. And they explode in a sort of shower of sparks, and that also looks really cool. And again, that's a nice visual way of keeping in with your special effects, but getting rid of bodies so you don't have to keep rendering them in. So that was clever. So yeah, no, like, the special effects are outstanding. The sequence where the Robin Hood, Maid Marian, Lil Jon, and Garth, their sort of version of Will Scarlet, are fighting the dragon in the center, and they force it down a well, and we see it fall, and that looks okay. Yeah, fairly good stuff. But more impressively, we cut to the next scene, and they're trying to figure out what to do next, and all of a sudden, we see the dragon shoot out from the well and go off into the sky to circle around and continue to fight. And the water and the shadow and the lighting and everything involved in making that CGI creature look like it was in the well and it flew out, and this and that sort of thing, mind-bogglingly awesome. Really, really good stuff. The score was composed by Darren Fung. Darren Fung. What an interesting name. And it's bloody great. It suits the movie very well. It suits the tone very well. Everything about it works. Everything about it's exciting and intense and dramatic and light when it needs to be. The score is amazing. And if you don't instantly get into the movie based on the score, I don't know if we can be friends. But let's get to the real meat of things, the acting. Everyone does an excellent job. Robin Dunn as Robin Hood. This is probably my favorite performance of his that I've seen. I've not seen every Robin Dunn movie. I've never even seen Sanctuary, which is probably the thing he's most known for. But I've seen plenty. American Psycho 2, Cruel Intentions 2, Skulls 2, lots of straight-to-DVD sequels for movies. I don't know why he did that. But he's really good in those, especially in Skulls 2. He's really good in that one. Here, he's the right amount of rakish, charming, and just a bit of an asshole for you to really like him, but to make you understand why he does what he does, and still be endearing. His chemistry with Erica Durant is very high and very good. They play off each other very well. And for her part, she's really good. A lot of people when making a period piece like this have a tendency to make the women be a little more independent than they would have been otherwise during that time. And that can sometimes come off as cloying and pandering. But here it doesn't. She's just very focused, and plays the character as if always known what she's always wanted, and she just needs to find a way of being able to get it. And she brings a lot of heart to the movie. Julian frickin' Sands plays Malcolm, and he's having a ball. He's having a grand old time getting to just play a big villain and be crazy. It's awesome. Mark Gibbon plays Little John, and anybody familiar with Mark Gibbon knows he's 9 feet tall and built like a house. So, yeah, that's who you get to play, Little John. And he's a lot of fun. He holds his own really, really well in the action scenes. Everybody else is fairly good. He's great at them. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Bill Dow as Friar Tuck. He has a very small role, though Friar's not in it too much. But he's a lot of fun, and he brings a lot of levity and lightheartedness, as the Friar usually does in the Robin Hood story. And he does so while still feeling like a part of their group and a part of their mission statement, I guess is what I would say the Merry Men have. That's good. However, and this could be just me being biased, I don't know, my favorite performance is from Catherine Isabelle. It's not her best performance. That, to date, is 88. I haven't seen the movie 88, directed by April Mullen, co-starring April Mullen, but starring Catherine Isabelle, about Fuse State. You gotta see it. It's a spectacularly mind-blowing modern action film. It's stunning. Anyway, she makes this character wounded and vulnerable and you completely believe that she would genuinely be scared for her life if she didn't do what Malcolm said, and you completely believe that she is a person at constant odds with herself for the curse that has been put upon her to become this dragon. She clearly hates it. She doesn't want it. But as the dragon, the way they make the dragon move and stuff, you can tell it's this vicious, mind-numbing beast. Kind of like a Jekyll Hyde Hulk, Bruce Banner type deal, where one's the id monster going crazy, the other one actually feels bad about it. And they play that really, really well. I know most people tune into terribly fun films for a terribly fun movie. But the joyous part of this is terribly fun is a glorious play on words. That means I can review whatever I like as long as it meets certain criteria. Or if it happens to be a boom movie that's freaking awesome, it still fits in this whole mold. And that's what Beyond Sherwood Forest is. Beyond Sherwood Forest is absolutely one of the best. One of the most engaging, one of the most original, and even still, 7 years later, has some of the best effects. I implore everyone to go out and watch the movie. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but it was for a little while. You can pick up the Blu-ray for fairly cheap. My copy was $5 or $6. It is worth it. If you haven't seen the movie, it is 125% worth watching this film. Everything about it works. Everything about it is exciting. Everything about it is the reason I love B movies, because I would never get to see Robin Hood fight a dragon otherwise. And that's just too freaking cool for words. As always, I'm your host Bobby. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.